Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Hump Day edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Parish Construction and Roofing. Need Northeast, you go to Brock. Need Roof, you call Parish. Unique Physique, uniquephysique.com. Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. Okay, y'all. Brian Kelly met with reporters after practice on Tuesday, updated several things, notably Garrett Dellinger, high ankle sprain. It'll be a rest week for him. Hopefully, they get him back in time for Bama. We shall see. I guess it is notable that sometimes with ankles like that, it's really devastating for players that have to shift and cut, receivers, running backs, for linemen, especially interior linemen that are kind of playing in a phone booth. Thought is you could just tape it up so heavily, immobilize it, and they could just roll and lean on people. So, not great, but see, what they may be able to do here for Dellinger in the next 2 weeks, getting ready to play. The good news is he's played so much football. Um, he don't need the extra week of practice. He just got to be ready to go on Saturday. So see if they can get him there. Let's see what else from Brian Kelly. As far as what they're doing, obviously he's talked again for the last time, I hope, about working on the running quarterbacks and something they'll obviously have to do this week. But personnel wise, I think everything else is okay. So Tigers, I said they scrimmaged. They let the young players scrimmage on Tuesday. So kind of a rest week mostly this week, and they'll really get working and cracking next week for Bama. So okay, y'all. LSU basketball played an exhibition last night. They blew out Loyola of New Orleans. So we'll keep an eye on the Tiger basketball team, as well as they're about to start their season next week. They got a couple exhibitions, and then they start their season in earnest. The Pels lost to Golden State, 124-106. It was a late tip. Yankees stay alive, 11-4 in Game 4 of the World Series. Finally, the offense got going. They'll play Game 5 tonight. So, okay, y'all. We'll say some good mornings here. Please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel. Facebook, like the page. Share the post. As always, all of our sponsors, they are linked in the description on YouTube and tagged on Facebook. We'll get going here. Trivia, good morning. Brian Wynn, good morning. Bubba Smith, good morning. Sean Garland, good morning from Memphis. All right, Sean. When I was walking in Memphis, walking with my feet 10 feet off a bill. Richie, good morning. I love it, man. Me and the kiddos headed to school watching you every morning. I love that, man. That's great. How old are your kiddos, Richie? And what are their names? We'll give them a shout out. To the Brumfield kiddos, hope you'll have an awesome day at school. Work hard, pay attention to your teachers, do all your homework and everything. Be polite to all your classmates. I hope you'll have an awesome day. Weston Weaver, good morning. Hey, Thomas, what's good, man? Hunter Eilers, morning, Scone. Totally forgot LSU basketball was on yesterday. Well, they were on Plus. It was an exhibition against Loyola of New Orleans. If you're interested, I know Hunt Palmer was there and has a write-up about the game at louisianasports.net. So if you have any interest there, you can go check it out. Eric, good morning. Kind of weird spot. We have to win out to make the playoff, but that would also put us at 7-1, likely in the SEC title. I'd imagine we'd want to avoid that. Well, Eric, I don't necessarily know that that's the case. Actually, I don't think it would be. So let's play some hypotheticals here as far as what would happen with the SEC championship game. Let's say Georgia and Texas A&M. Or let's say this. Georgia wins out. So they're 7-1 in the conference. Only lost at Bama. Texas wins out. They're 7-1. Only lost to Georgia. That means Texas beats Texas A&M. So A&M 7-1 and LSU 7-1. You have those four teams that are 7-1. Which, by the way, I don't think this is going to happen. I don't know that I can remember a year there were 4 teams in the SEC that were 7-1. But then again, you got a 16. First time there's a 16-team league, so larger sample. Anyway, you would go down to like the head-to-head tiebreaker wouldn't hold. The common opponent tiebreaker wouldn't hold because LSU didn't play Texas or Georgia. A&M didn't play Georgia. Anyway, so if I'm not mistaken, it would go to the strength of your record in the SEC, so your opponent's records in the SEC. And I think Georgia and A&M would probably, now again, there's another month of football, would probably win out there. Texas has a weak strength of record in the SEC, as we talked about during the summer. It was almost as if the SEC office came to Texas and said, here, who would you like to play this season? And they just had a very favorable year one schedule. I mean, Texas didn't make its first road SEC trip until the end of October. Like this last weekend against Vanderbilt was their first road SEC game. So, no, I don't know at this point. I mean, there is let's say A&M loses this week to South Carolina and loses to Texas. Texas wins out, but Georgia loses to either Tennessee or Ole Miss. Then you'd be in at 7-1. But then you have Tennessee to look at as well, because Tennessee's only loss right now is to Arkansas. So you kind of need Tennessee to lose to Georgia to get that second loss and LSU to win out. What you don't want are teams with the same record. So then they're looking at trying to compare resumes. Like it's just easier if you're 7-1 and they're 6-2. Anyway, I don't know if all that makes sense, Eric. I might have just confused the heck out of everybody, but suffice to say, there's a lot of scenarios possibly, and still a lot of football to play. Avid inspection specialist. What's up, Christian? Hope you're doing great, man. Hashtag clean house. Soon enough, man. Hey, Merrick. Let's see. Love the Saints rant Monday. Didn't realize how bad the cap situation is with the Saints. Yeah, man. I mean, so for those that missed it, when I did the rant Monday, there were $72 million over the cap for 2025. By far and away the worst cap situation for 25. The next closest is Cleveland. I think that's 33 million over or something like that. So and by the way, we did yesterday get the details of the Kamara contract, so how it's structured. And so that did reduce next year's cap number by like $10 million or something like that. So it's 62 now or something like that. And for it, you get 2 years of an expensive aging running back. Jacob, good morning. Love Locked on LSU segment you did about Lane Kiffin crying. Also, what did Michael Thomas tweet you on X out on AFR? I don't know, man. I mean, the reason when I don't really need to get into it, but when he got released by the Saints, Jeff Duncan reported that Michael Thomas was going to be released. Well, Michael Thomas went on a Twitter tirade against Jeff Duncan. And so I did a segment on Michael Thomas, essentially saying it's kind of crazy how this guy was the greatest receiver in the history of the organization. He won the NFL Offensive Player of the Year. He was beloved, all these things, and he's now a pariah. Like nobody, I mean, the Saints released him, and literally nobody's even given him a workout since. And he's the kind of guy that is always sort of pointing the finger, like it's someone else's fault. It's never his fault. But the word's out. That's why nobody in the NFL has signed him. So anyway, when he went in, like, quote, he replied to my rant video and shared the video that I did about him going off on Jeff Duncan, basically saying he's a pariah and nobody wants to have him around, which he is. Anyway, so then I talked about him tweeting at me on AFR. And then he did DM me. Some not great stuff, let's just say. Actually, the words that he typed to me are pure evil. And people like that, you just got to pray for him because he's in a very bad space. Very bad space. Patrick, morning, Scone. Yankees love to play another game. I was excited to see him. When Volpe hit the grand slam, I was like, thank God. It's felt like a weight of the world off your shoulders. Austin, good morning. Today makes 1 year of carnivore dieting. Okay. No carbs, no fiber, just meat. Health benefits have been profound. Amazing journey. Okay. So all you eat is meat. How do you get, do you supplement for vegetables and other things? I'm curious. I guess I know a little bit about the carnivore diet, but not enough, I guess, to have an opinion. But that's awesome, man. The discipline to do that's incredible. So good for you, man. Ryan, morning, Matt. Question: how much of the running game problems are necessarily from the offensive line, or do you think maybe there's a lot going on with Garrett changing things? So Ryan, it's interesting. Brian Kelly actually talked about that yesterday in his press conference. He gave a very long, detailed answer about it, and he said sometimes it's you have offensive linemen that aren't winning one-on-ones. Sometimes it's the back needing to make a guy miss. Sometimes it's Garrett needing to check out of a play at the line of scrimmage when you have a loaded box. He said it's a combination of all of that stuff within the functioning of the offense. So I don't necessarily think it's just one thing. Listening to what he had to say, it's sort of operational altogether. Tiger Diver, morning, Scone. Do you think 10-2 LSU gets into the playoffs over 10-2 A&M? I don't think it's an either or, Tiger Diver. And keep in mind, if A&M's 10-2, the scenario you're describing is one of two things. Either they lose one game in the regular season and then win the SEC championship, so they actually be 11-2, or they win out, go to the SEC championship game at 11-1, and lose the SEC championship game to go to 11-2. I guess all the way to say it is they can't finish 10-2. I don't believe. I guess maybe there's a scenario where if they lose to Texas and they finish 10-2, they don't go to Atlanta. But I think if they go 7-1 in the league, I'd have to check the tiebreakers, but I think if A&M were to go 7-1 in the league, they'd be in Atlanta. So I don't think it's an either or thing. I think, and especially because they have a head-to-head over you, it's more, I think, and the best case scenario for LSU is Texas A&M loses Saturday to South Carolina and loses to Texas and finishes as a 3-loss team. That's the best case scenario. You got to be big South Carolina fans this weekend. Abner Neal, good morning. Still driving Evermore is great. Still driving Evermore. Sorry, it is great. Thank you, Abner. Yeah, man. You know what I started telling people to do, Abner, is like get a bottle of Evermore. Just buy one bottle. Just get one bottle of Evermore and get another bottle of whatever bottled water that you normally drink. And drink them side by side. The difference is amazing. Like that's all people will need to know to understand how different it is with their drinking. Let's see. Austin, in a way, losing A&M could make it easier for us to make the playoffs. It's less likely we'll have to play Texas or Georgia and Atlanta. That's the it's true that and that would be the worry is if you were let's say you go 10-2, you go to Atlanta, you lose, you're 10-3. Are you out of the playoffs as a 3-loss team? Don't know, maybe. The flip side of it, though, Austin, is let's say you go 10-2, you go to Atlanta, and you win the SEC championship game. Well, then you're guaranteed a top 4 spot and a bye. So there's two sides of that coin. All right, hang on 1 second, y'all. I need to go turn off Drew's sound machine and backpack and all that sort of stuff. So here you go.
Parish Construction and Roofing. At Parish, we've got you covered. From the top of your roof all the way down. Parish Construction and Roofing. Parish built. Parish built. Parish built. From your hometown. ParishBuilt.com.
Okay, Parish Construction and Roofing, ParishBuilt.com. We'd love to give you that free, no obligation roofing inspection. ParishBuilt.com. All right, let's see. Brian Penn, good morning from upstate New York. All right, Brian, drive safe today, man. Brett DeGrow, what's up, man? Brad David, good morning. I know recruiting is not your thing, but did you see the on-through article about Underwood? Michigan seems to be really making a run at him. So, Brad, I would highly recommend that you go check out Locked on LSU because last night, I might try something. I was talking to the Locked on folks, and they suggested 2 shows a day. So I think what I'm going to do is my full show, Locked On show, that I record at night that publishes in the morning, which is live right now. And then at night, drop what they call bonus content, which is like, 10, 12 minutes, something like that. And so my bonus content, which I dropped last night, is specifically on that. So if you missed it, On 3 has a report that Michigan is making a strong push for Bryce Underwood. Talked to Shea Dixon yesterday, who said Bryce Underwood has not visited Michigan since July of 2023. He lives 30 minutes from the campus. Hasn't visited since July of 23. So before last season, Jim Harbaugh was still the coach. Basically, he hasn't been to campus. Bryce Underwood has not been to Michigan's campus since Sharon Moore is the coach. It's really hard to think you're going to make up that much ground for a guy that's been committed to LSU for a year. I mean, Bryce Underwood committed to LSU in January. So it's been almost a year that he's been committed. To make up that kind of ground in 5 weeks, I don't know if I see it, man. So I understand they got to make a run at it. But, I think the Pelicans are still in a really, really good spot. Mark, Herb Jones broke collarbone last night. I didn't see I know Herb left, and I saw him walking off the floor like with his arm down. I thought it kind of looked like a shoulder. I didn't see a report that it was collarbone. I'm not saying you're wrong, Mark. I just didn't see it. But yeah, man, they continue to suffer injuries early in the season, which is just terrible. Thomas, time to bust out my wife, the Bama fan, hates this time of year. Lowell Cormier, good morning. Michael, morning, sir. Loved your rant. Did the Saints fire and rehire Cabote in the same month? What are they doing? LSU is better than the Saints. Well, it's so you're talking about Jacob Cabote, who's from Baton Rouge, played at Lafayette, and then Saints signed him as UDFA. Was on the team. He's kind of living that practice squad life where you're up and down a little bit. So obviously with Kendre Miller getting hurt. But what was interesting is the official roster announcements from the Saints was they signed Jordan Mims, not Cabote. So I don't know what happened with Cabote there. Hey, Melody, good morning. Lane Rant made my day yesterday. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. That was on Locked On. Yesterday's Locked On. Eric, your Saints rant was so good. I hope we lose to Carolina to get another one. I think it was the best of all time, honestly. I appreciate you watching. Thank y'all very much. It's been well received. Good morning, Uncle Scone. Thinking of coming and hanging out at Don Juan for the Bama game. Come on, dude. Jason, it'd be great to meet you, man. Come say hello. Frankie, good morning. Chance, Cajuns beat Texas State last night. At least I got a split versus Texas teams this week. Yeah, man. They were I had money on the Cajuns last night. They were a public dog last night. Plus 3.5. Took the Cajuns and made a little money. So it was good to see. Thomas, hopefully we get everyone healthy for next week. Need the offensive line to play at a 5-star level. You know what, Thomas, also, man, like one of the things we know will be true is the venue against Ole Miss, the venue for A&M last weekend, all that's going to be at full throat. Man, I've watched bad LSU teams take good Bama teams to the brink. Like the 2014 LSU team was probably Les Miles' worst team. Anthony Jennings at quarterback and a lot of young players. Fournette was a freshman. You didn't really have much of a defensive line rotation. And, I mean, that team had Bama beat. But for the personal foul, late, you let Blake Sims, which made you kick a field goal instead of punching a touchdown, would have sealed it. You kick the ball out of bounds. Blake Sims leads a tying drive. You go to overtime and lose. I mean, you had that game won. And that was Les Miles' worst team. So, look, You're playing in Tiger Stadium. It's going to be a massive day environment. You expect everybody to elevate their level of play. And this isn't a great Bama team. So, look, LSU's favored in the game. They should be favored in the game. And go play clean and win that game and keep all your hopes alive. Hey, Jeff, good morning. Yeah, man. Damon Gilmore, good morning. Wendell Norman, what some person LSU would have common games over Tennessee. If they're tied, if they're tied with Tennessee, I hear what you're saying. Edward, good morning. My daughter will be an analyst at New St. Louis. Very good, man. That's awesome, man. What age is she going to be, or what class is she going to be working with? I'm curious. She'll love it over there, man. Great people, amazing resource, amazing kiddos, wonderful, loving people, man. Okay. Rocky, let's see. Morning, Matt. Your take on MT is dead on. Look how many teams need a wide receiver. He's still not playing. Yeah. Like I said, man, he DM'd me yesterday and said some pretty evil stuff. That's a guy who needs prayers, man. Like, I don't know what's going on, if it's just bitterness or if there's something like legitimately going on, mentally. But either way, that's a guy that could probably use some prayers. Bailey C, I think Nuss will ball against Bama. I hope so, man. Look, they give up a lot defensively, and it's there for the taking. LSU's receivers against their secondary is there for the taking. Austin, thanks. The only thing a supplement is electrolytes is needed because we do not drink water from enriched streams like our ancestors. Otherwise, you can get all the nutrition from red meat. Interesting. Okay. Dale Broussard, 2026 LSU will contend for another natty. Dale, if they get Nuss back next year, I think they can contend next year. Now, you'll have a giant question on your offensive line because you're going to lose 4 starters. But you should be really good on defense next year. You're going to be talented at receiver. You'll have Durham back if you get Nuss back. It's really, hey, man, get some of those young offensive linemen to get older, probably get a starter out of the portal. You got like a real shot next year, Kenneth, I wish somebody would have asked Brian Kelly about the offensive play calling in the red zone. Yeah, Kenneth, look, man, Kenneth, I'm not trying to pick a fight here this morning, man. I think one of the most common fan narratives is to blame play calling. And I think play calling has been really good. I think they've done a good job, equal parts of being consistent and of changing things up. I mean, if you're going to blame play calling, Kenneth, I would say I need you to give me a specific example of something you didn't like and why you didn't like it, so then we can look at the situation and talk about it. I'm not okay with just generalizing saying play calling. Like, to a degree, every play is designed to work if it's executed properly. So in part, there's that component of it. There's the execution component. You're also limited when you struggle to run the ball. So, anyway, I mean, the first touchdown you scored against A&M was a play from the 2-yard line where you threw an over-the-shoulder pass to Mason Taylor. Dime. Beautifully executed. Perfect ball, perfect catch, all of it. That's pretty creative. From the 2-yard line, I think a lot of people are assuming you're going to go power with Caden Durham. No, we're going to throw an over-the-shoulder pass to the pylon to Mason Taylor. That's pretty creative. Anyway. Yeah, King Mosa, what did you think about Kelly's answer about us not being capable of running screenplays? He talked for like 4 minutes about the screen game, screenplays, all that sort of stuff. I don't know, man. Like, the first play against South Alabama was a screen that they ran 81 yards for a touchdown. And you got some pretty athletic linemen as well. And there's different types of screens. There's bubble screens, there's Z screens, there's middle screens, there's all different kinds of screens. So I don't know. Again, I think it's really hard to have a generalized answer to something so nuanced. Okay. Wayne, Michael, Rusty, Kelly, good morning, y'all. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Tony, good morning. Chester's Folly, good morning, Matt. And Drew, thank you, man. How much truth is there of the succession plan for the Saints? Loomis and Lauscher are locked in forever. I mean, that's true. I mean, Gail Benson doesn't have heirs, so that is part of the succession plan. That's not to say that could never change. I mean, part of the succession plan used to be that Rita was going to own the team, and then Tom Benson and his family became estranged, and he married Gail, and now it's Gail's team. So, I mean, those things can change, but yeah. Hire Billy B. It's 7:45. Mike, how many years will it take to reset the cap situation? Well, there's 2 things that would need to happen. And most importantly is you get your spending under control. But number 2 is, and a big part of that, I think, is offloading bad contracts when you can, which is not easy, but because you have to get someone to take, in a good cap situation, to take on a bad contract, but the player would have to be worth it. So again, that's you narrow your pool there, but the other thing too is the cap rises as the cap in theory should rise every year. So new TV deal, everything, as revenues rise, the cap rises. So you're making more money, which helps alleviate some of those issues. But you can't continue to just keep spending more as you're making more. But that's what the Saints are doing, because they're in this perpetual win now mode because they think they're contenders when they're not. So they just keep perpetuating the problem. Tyga Poppy, what up? Cortland, good morning. 7:46. I got to go, y'all. What is your thoughts about me using your rant the other day about Mickey Loomis as my ringtone? Enjoy it, man. That'd be great. Just tell everybody that hears it that it's after further review on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and syndicated throughout the state. Hey, Dad. Good morning. Zach gave us free roof inspection at the church. Awesome, man. Love to hear that. Parish Construction Roofing. Zach's awesome too, man. Hope y'all are doing great. Good to see you last night. Still working the Leonard Fett interview for AFR? Yes, as a matter of fact. That may happen next week for Bama. Gary, yes, cheering for the Gamecocks this weekend. Let's see. I don't know why people want the Aggies to lose. I'd rather play them again. I agree. Tim, good morning. Joshua Curtis, would the city run the team or would they sell it? I don't know what would happen there. But real quick, to Cortland's point about the Aggies, I'm more thinking, Cortland, about how do I get them out, not play them again. I'm thinking because I'm thinking of what's a realistic scenario. Well, I would rather Texas A&M lose to South Carolina than lose to Texas, have 3 losses, and be out. Okay, I got to go. 7:48. Oh, my God, I got to go. Thanks for watching. Sponsors, linked in the description on YouTube, tagged on Facebook. Please go check out Locked on LSU Now. Remember, you have today's full episode and the bonus episode about the Bryce Underwood recruitment Michigan stuff. That was the bonus episode that's already live as well. So check it out. See you. Have a great day. See you for